children? Last week, we talked about Noah, a man whom Yahweh called righteous. Remember, the whole world had been destroyed by a flood, and when Yahweh told Noah's children to have more children, well, they did. And a long time later, a man was born whose name was Abram. Abram lived with his family, and Yahweh told him it was time to move. Abram had a wife whose name was Sarai. He also had a nephew named Lot. Remember how Yahweh told Noah that if he did what Yahweh told him, Yahweh would keep him and his family safe. Well, Yahweh also made some promises to Abram. If Abram did what Yahweh told him, Yahweh said he would bless him with many, many children, and everyone would know who he was. Abram listened to Yahweh. He took Sarai and his nephew Lot and moved where Yahweh told him to go. When Abram got to a place called Shechem, there was a tree there called a terebinth, and here he talked with Yahweh. Yahweh told Abram that he would one day give this land to his children. There at the tree, Abram built an altar to worship. After that, Abram moved to another place called Bethel, and he made another altar there. At Bethel, they ran out of food to eat, so Abram had to walk to another place called Mitzrayim. They stayed there until there was food again in Bethel, and then they went back. Abram and Lot owned many sheep, cows, and tents. It started to get too crowded. The shepherds who took care of Abram's herds started arguing with the shepherds who took care of Lot's herds. So Abram decided it was time to separate. Lot chose where he wanted to move, and Abram moved back to where he had built the second altar. A long time after this, a war started at the place where Lot had chosen to live. There were 4 kings on one side and 5 kings on the other. The 4 kings took all the food from the 5 kings, and they also took people, including Lot. A man ran to tell Abram that his nephew had been taken by the enemy kings, and Abram was not happy. He took 318 men and chased after them to rescue his nephew. Abram was able to defeat the 5 kings' army and get his nephew back. After this, a man we know as Melchizedek, who was the high priest of Yahweh, blessed Abram and gave him wine and bread. He told Abram that Yahweh was happy with him, and that's why he had won the war against the 5 kings. Abram then gave 1/10 of what he had to Melchizedek. Do you know what 1/10 is? Well, if you have 10 of something, then you remove 1 of them. That is 1/10. Abram knew that Melchizedek was someone working for Yahweh, and so he gave him 1/10 of all that he owned. We will learn more about 1/10 in another lesson, where Yahweh instructs all Israel about this kind of giving. Well, children, we have come to the end of our story for today, so we will see you next time for another exciting Torah portion. Shalom.